Imagine you wake up early in a great mood. So early, in fact, that you stop for a quick bite to eat on the way to work. While you're waiting in line, you can't help but notice a little kid wearing the same jacket you used to love when you were about 10 years old. You wonder if they started making it again. Then it becomes apparent that this kid is alone. Where the fuck are this 10-year-old's parents? It's 6 a.m. Did they just ditch this kid? Are you about to be a part of a news story that you don't want to see later? You leave your spot in line and go over to them. You say softly because you don't want to scare the poor kid, "Where's your parents?" The kid turns around and your veins turn ice cold. You're looking directly into the 10-year-old eyes of yourself. After you shit your pants, you sit down so you don't pass out, and the kid sits across from you. The kid waits there for about 10-15 seconds, lets you gather yourself, and then gently asks, "So, what do I get to be when I grow up?"
What in the fuck are you going to tell that kid? Well, that's exactly what we'll be asking today. We can use my journey as an example, a quick example, because I'm not even 40 yet, so I've got way more living to do. And that means I'm only about 50% done writing my story to that 10-year-old. Now, let's see if we can make a cliche topic at least a little entertaining.
Welcome to The Basic Vet, the podcast with a beard, tattoos, and no fucks. It's politically incorrect, it's abrasive, it's unapologetic, and it's probably fucking funny. I'm your host, Shannon Smith. Here you'll find out what it's like being a vet on a day-to-day basis, the unspoken struggles you don't hear about, and some honest stories from my time in our beloved Marine Corps. So grab a beer and throw out all those fucks you've had in your pocket, because where we're going,
you don't need any fucks.
All right, welcome back, Warriors. You know, I was going to call this episode, Don't Be Who They Tell You To. But that seems a little boring and cliche, and I'm trying to make this a little bit exciting, because this could turn into a very drab topic. But I'm stoked about today's episode, so we're going to fill it with happiness. And the reason I'm stoked is because TVV, the Basic Vet, is making new friends. We'll talk on that later. It's totally worth it, though. Okay, what was the first thing you ever wanted to be? Let me clarify. I asked my wife this question, and I had to ask it a whole bunch more times until we got to the real answer. And her real answer, without hesitation, was a fucking mermaid, which is a big reason why I love her. So that answer should make it easier for you. What did you want to be when you were a kid? What's the first thing that you can ever remember wanting to be? Now, mine was a Ninja Turtle. I wanted to be a fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, without a doubt. Now, there's a reason I wanted to get down to the very first thing that my wife wanted to be, which was a mermaid. Because that doesn't make much sense. Why would that even matter as to who you are when you grow up? It turns out, after I thought about it, it matters a lot more than I thought it would. Now, the point, like I said, was to get to the root of what made her and I into the adults that we are today. Now, after some deep discussion, it became apparent that those little kid dreams played into who we are now. Remember, she said she wanted to be a fucking mermaid. No hesitation either. I asked her why about 10 times. As you can see, I'm probably pretty annoying to live with, until we got to the root. And can you guess why she wanted to be a mermaid? If you guessed freedom, you're absolutely correct. She loved the freedom that mermaids had. Now, that woman is one of the most idgaff chicks I've ever met. That's why I'm with her. That girl lives and breathes freedom. It's part of her being. So, once I found that out, I had to look into my own Ninja Turtle fantasy and figure out what that meant for me. Right? Because my wife knew that even though her career right now doesn't involve swimming with a little yellow and blue fish every day, her 10-year-old self would be pretty fucking impressed with how she turned out. Now, since she's a little shy, I'll get deeper into my own story. Now, like I said, I wanted to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. To be specific, I wanted to be Michelangelo, or at least friends with Michelangelo. It wasn't until we unpacked this topic together a few nights ago that I figured out the why behind my bedroom being all Ninja Turtle when I was 10 years old. Ninja Turtles are virtuous. They stand up for those that can't help themselves. They've got a very strong bond that nothing gets in the way of. They're brothers, they're misfits, and they're misunderstood. But God damn it, they've got your back if you aren't a piece of shit and you're in trouble. Now, Michelangelo was the most fun-loving one of the bunch. He embodied the laid-back, chill SoCal life. Skateboarding, surfing, tasty zaws, and some freedom. Anything to have a good time, but when shit hits the fan, it's all business, mostly, with him. He's the guy you want at the party to get it started, and to kick out the jackass that pisses in the closet. So, where did I fuck up along the way? Or did I? All right, quick timeline time. Let's very briefly go over some defining moments in my life all the way up to this point here and see if we can make some connections. Here we go. Started about 10 years old. I played Little League, and I wasn't that bad at it. Started skateboarding around that age, and I was terrible. And then I found rollerblades. I started skating vert on rollerblades, which is half pipes, ramps, that big air, big ouch type shit when you fall, it hurts bad. Never broke a bone, though. That was weird. I was pretty good at that shit. Now then, I got into Kenpo. Actually, rewind a little bit. About 11 years old, I got into Kenpo. Some martial arts. Had to get my turtle time in. Got me a cool colored belt. And then we'll fast forward to my 20s. In my 20s, I got into paintball, and I made it to a travel team as what they call a front guy. And what a front guy does is basically right off the break when the game starts, they have to run all the way out to the middle of the field on the side, try and stay a little bit hidden, take some people out, and they almost always get taken out themselves. Lots and lots of bruises. But I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a good time. Now, those were the good parts. Then, shortly after that, I got into drugs and alcohol and fighting. Those I call my retard days. I needed those, but I was a retard. Now, after I got through my retard days, I found the fucking Holy Grail. Let's go back and recap what I said about the Ninja Turtles earlier. They are virtuous. They stand up for those that can't help themselves. They've got a very strong bond that nothing gets in the way of. They're brothers, misfits, they're misunderstood, but they've got your back if you're not a piece of shit and you're in trouble. They stand up for what's right. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it's the goddamn Marine Corps. The real-life Ninja fucking Turtles. They're just mostly Michelangelos. And since I've got nothing to do but think lately, this is the shit that happens. I draw crazy parallels between financial specialists and mermaids, contract managers and Ninja Turtles. You starting to see why I need this podcast? It's not just for you, it's for me. All right, now I didn't stop with the Marine Corps. It didn't just end there. That wasn't the end. I wouldn't be here doing this if it was the end. I started racing motorcycles when I got to SoCal with my tasty zaws. Now, I didn't do just track days. I actually got licensed to race with Moto West Grand Prix, and I went to different tracks to race. I got some sponsors. I got a couple trophies. I started a business to help people get to the track cheaper. I worked my ass off for 2 Wheels track days running their corner working crew. And then I got certified to teach people to ride motorcycles on the street. And then I moved to Shitsylvania and started teaching people how to ride motorcycles and help run the state program right into the ground. And here the fuck I am now. Bored. I left that job in July of 2019, and then I got lost, basically. I lost my mission. I lost my why. Don't fucking do that. Hold on to your why as tight as you can. If you lose it, you need to have a deep conversation with someone and find it again. I am way happier now that I started this podcast than I was for the previous however many months. I was just miserable because I didn't have my mission. People like me and almost all 4 of my listeners need to live for something bigger than them. Now, speaking of listeners, I want to make a shout out to TBV's 4th listener, Broken Jarhead. I woke up today and checked on my favorite Marine Facebook group, and I was greeted with some of the best Marine-specific satirical artwork I've seen since Terminal Lance's heyday a few years back. You have to head over to brokenjarhead.com. BrokenJarhead.com. I will not break that down to the phonetic alphabet. Brokenjarhead.com. What you'll find there is a few funny as hell decals and patches that you don't have to be a Marine to fully appreciate. His Embrace the Suck design is perfect for anyone that listens to this show, not just Jarheads. Now here comes the best part. 22% of the profits there go to Mission 22. Mission 22 is a 501c3 company that just means nonprofit, and they provide help to vets out there that are stuck in the hurt locker. They help get them the treatment that they need when the pain gets to be too much to handle alone. So get the fuck over to brokenjarhead.com and feast your eye holes on that sick-ass artwork. Now, brokenjarhead.com is brand new, so be patient. He's just getting off the ground, but I've got a really good feeling about this one. I cannot wait to get my decals and patches and stick them all over the goddamn place. That's it, Warriors. I didn't want to get too deep. I would have had to make this a 3-day podcast, and it would have been boring and completely preachy. I wanted to put out just enough to get you thinking about that little kid. Hey, did you get sucked into that story from the beginning? I hope so. Ask yourself right now, ask yourself, what are you going to say to that kid? Did you sell out? Or are you fucking Michelangelo? I hope you're Michelangelo, you're living your best life. I'm going to see you on Monday for surprise topics. I don't know what the fuck they are yet. There'll be something, though.
To everyone that listened to this podcast, thank you. Thank you for taking that time out of your day to listen to me bitch, babble, and complain. I really appreciate it. And all of my active duty friends out there, I want to say thank you for signing on that dotted line so that I can continue to enjoy my freedom and be a lazy fucker that just records his voice into a microphone all day and put it on the internet. And to those of you that say, just let it go, I say, fuck you. I'm never letting go of my commitment to excellence. And don't you let it go either. I'm out.